Coach Locksley, going to start with some opening remarks, and then we'll take questions.
Before I take questions, just going to follow up on DJ Turner's status. Obviously, we're disappointed in DJ's decision-making a couple of weeks ago off the field. He won't be playing this week against Rutgers. We'll continue to be able to meet and practice with us. And I'll say this, DJ's part of our football family, and families support each other. And we'll continue to work through this while also understanding that there are going to be repercussions for making poor decisions and choices in your life. I had a chance to recruit DJ, and I know the family that he comes from, and he comes from a really good family. And as a family, whether it's good times or bad times, we're here to support each other. Our football family is no different. And so we'll continue to give DJ the support off the field, the football taking a backseat to everything else. And we're continuing to cooperate with the Office of Student Conduct, and we'll put this behind us and won't have any further comments until all this stuff is kind of concluded. From an injury update, the only one I can really talk about is Lorenzo Harrison. Lolo is going to have surgery. He tore MCL and partially tore his ACL in the game on Friday. So, we'll get Lolo healthy, and everyone else that we talked about, after the game right now are game time decisions for us. So, lastly, one of the things I know, obviously, we're disappointed in the way we performed. Our fan base really showed up and created a great atmosphere, and we didn't do our job. But like I told our team, plays within a game have a shelf life, which means when the play is over, you got to get to the next play. Well, so do games, and whether they're games where we have great success or games like the most recent one against Penn State where we weren't very good, we need to move on, and we need to move to the next play or move to the next game. And so I know with that being said, we're excited about the opportunity to go up to Rutgers this weekend. It's my job as the leader of this thing here to make sure that we get our confidence back on the offensive side of the ball, and we do the things that we're capable of executing to get us back on the right track, which I know we will. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions.
This is Mason Viner. Listen to the Young Terps podcast on CapitalSportsBlog.com and TerpTalk.com, the #1 rated Maryland sports podcast.
The Jackers Law Group's successes have resulted in many distinguished awards, including Best Personal Injury Trial Law Firm USA, Maryland's Personal Injury Attorney of the Year twice, and Super Lawyers designation every single year. We succeed because we're willing to try cases, and insurance companies know it. That's why their claim reps often grumble they pay us more in settlements than any other lawyers. You deserve a great lawyer. If you've been hurt in a car, truck, or train crash, call 855-BIG-DOG-1.
Mike, the lack of execution in the last two games, does that start in practice and go back to what you were saying after the Syracuse game about needing to learn to deal with success and then also handle adversity?
Yeah, I think those are all part of the growing pains of managing success, but also being able to come back from adversity. And, again, that's my job as the coach and the leader to make sure that our guys understand that and are able to do both those things. The lack of execution, it's amazing when you watch the tape. The first interception was an opportunity to create momentum. We had a wide open receiver, and we just didn't throw the right kind of football to get the ball to the open receiver. And again, those are things that are all teachable. Those are all correctable. And that's kind of, when we went back and watched the film, and again, we didn't spend a lot of time, obviously, because of the way the game finished, dealing with, other than the teachable moments, the things within the game where, there were teachable moments, and that's one of them. We had 17 missed tackles, which, the most missed tackles we've had in the game this year was 7. So, again, these are all correctable things that, we'll spend our time this week making sure, one, that it's got to get back to playing disciplined football in terms of how we execute, in terms of the fundamentals involved with executing it, and why it's important to do it that way.
Coach, is Josh 100% healthy
Yeah,
at this point?
he is.
There was a report out that he had a shoulder issue with his non-thermal shoulder.
I haven't seen a report that, he hasn't missed a day of practice in the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks of the season, so he's healthy.
Patrick.
Mike, a question you probably didn't anticipate at any point this season, but is there any concern about the running back depth, with having lost a couple guys, and does it kind of limit you as to some of the things you want to do, or do you feel like you're fine given the guys that you still do have?
We still have some talent there. Obviously it's a luxury to have the depth that we've had. Losing Jake Funk, again, the leadership of him, and then finally getting Lolo healthy, and he was going to be a big part of our game plan in the Penn State game with some of the different things that he was capable of doing. It hurts, but we still have 3 really talented guys, and Javon Leak and Tayon Fleet Davis, and all 3 of those guys are really capable playmakers for us, and it's still one of the strengths for our team. But with that being said, again, we've got to continue to manage that position, make sure that our guys, Ant wasn't 100% in the game Saturday, had a high ankle, missed a lot of the bye week, getting healthy with that, but was able to go play some for us. And so, again, we lose 2 really good players in Jake and Lolo, but I still feel it's a luxury to have the 3 that we still have.
To your right, Dave.
Coach, where do you feel things have gone awry for Josh in the last 2 games, and what do you feel he needs to do to get that groove back that he had early on?
Well, it starts with confidence, and you miss a couple throws here and there as a quarterback, and again, that's why I said on Friday night that it's my job to make sure that we get things called that he can execute, to build his confidence. Obviously, we're a little thin up front with losing some of the guys we lost. We lost Johnny in the middle of the game. We lost Marcus Minor last game some, and then losing Squill there earlier in the Temple game. We've got to give him confidence to be able to get the ball out quick, get back to being really disciplined, which I thought, he played a little better in this game than he played in the Temple game, but still missed some opportunities. And so, we've got to, again, continue on the offensive side of the ball to figure out ways to get our best players the ball, which are our running backs, and we got a few receivers and tight ends, which our quarterback has to distribute it. And this offense will go through our quarterback and his ability to make the decisions we need him to make on each and every play. And I thought Josh did a better job in the Penn State game than he did in Temple in some of the decision making. But again, the turnovers, we had 2 turnovers in the first 3 drives. We gave up 21 points off of turnovers. The one down in the red area was a back-breaking with a team like ours. We drive it back down there and have a chance to get 14-7, and we don't come away with points. Kind of took the life out of us. And again, that's my job to make sure that when we have adversity like that it can't create the environment or the culture on the sideline where it's here we go again mentality as opposed to let's go do it again.
Mike, in terms of the issues you have with the offensive line protection, is there a thought of getting Piggy on the field for some more packages, given his ability to, not need as much protection because of his ability to run?
Well, I think you're going to always need protection because even if you have a runner and they can contain you, that takes that away. I just think for us, staying in manageable 3rd downs, we don't have a lot of protection issues on 1st and 2nd down. And so, again, I always go back to if you want to be good on 3rd down, we've got to be really productive on 1st and 2nd down and make sure we maintain favorable 3rd down situations, which we did earlier in the year. Again, this week we got about 10 3rd and 7+ situations, and we're not built up front to protect as long as you need to get that yardage. And some of that comes into play calling where maybe we need to, instead of trying to get the full 10 yards for the 1st down, let's catch and run, understanding the limitations we have maybe with some of the protection issues to hold on to the ball. And so, again, we'll get some things put in the 3rd down that'll allow the quarterback to drop back and get the ball out of his hand a little quicker. But if we want to, he hasn't had trouble in protections on 1st and 2nd down. It's been 3rd down. It's been our Achilles heel the last 2 games, and we've been in some terrible 3rd down yardage situations, which aren't favorable for anybody normally.
Just to follow up on Josh in terms of with the confidence issue. If he starts as this kind of start he had the last 2 games, does he have sort of a shorter leash in terms of when you will make it, put Piggy in?
Yeah, we're definitely continuing the rep. Piggy's gotten a good amount of the reps. The last 4 weeks as the backup quarterback. For me, it's all about the feel I have for Josh. I felt in the Temple game that he was kind of had that long look that you see where it wasn't a lot of confidence. I didn't see it as much in the Penn State game later in the game. I thought early on after the 2 turnovers that so we'll continue. Josh is our starter, but just like any other position, you remain a starter based on your ability to produce. And for us at the quarterback position, it starts with taking care of the football first, scoring points seconds, and then displaying leadership third. And we got to get that out of that position. And if we don't feel we're getting it out of Josh, we won't hesitate to give Piggy a chance.
Just to confirm, will Lorenzo Harrison be out for the season? And also, what are the updates on the other guys that went out of the game with injuries against Penn State?
Yeah, as I said when I started, Lolo with the surgery, with the MCL, will most likely be out for the year. And with the other guys, there'll be game time decisions in terms of their availability. I don't have enough information to give much of an update other than these guys are getting treatment and we're trying to get them ready to all be able to play and be available for us on Saturday.
Andy?
With Lorenzo out, do his touches, I know he was supposed to be a big part of the Penn State game, do his touches get redistributed to the 3 healthy running backs we have, or do you figure somebody else could step up?
Yeah, that's what it's about. We try to find the skill set that guys have. Lolo's a guy that was a challenge for people in space because of his ability. He got hurt on the reverse that we called early in the game to kind of get him a touch and get him out on the perimeter. But the other 3, Ant in space is as dangerous. Javon Leak is a dangerous home run hitter in space as well. And then Fleet Davis is one of those guys that's kind of a jack of all trades for us. So you'll see those 3 be able to split the work. Hopefully, again, like I said, we've got to keep those guys all healthy and then do a good job of our tight ends, making sure they're involved. Dante Demas is a guy that I feel like we've got to get more involved in the offense like we had earlier in the year. And again, that's what the quarterback's job is, to be able to distribute the ball and make sure that we're getting touches to the guys that we need to get the touches to.
Time for 2 or 3 more.
As I'm sure you probably already know, Chris Ash was let go. We'll have an interim coach this week. Having gone through that situation yourself here, does it present any additional challenges? And having maybe gone through it, does it maybe help with any of those challenges if there are any?
Obviously it's disappointing whenever you see a coach get let go in the middle of the year, and I've experienced both sides of it, having been let go as a head coach, but also as an interim. And it's a challenge, and our players are well aware that, having gone through it themselves, and you saw the rally that they put together when they played Texas last year with the interim situation, that there's nothing worse than playing a team that doesn't have much to lose. And I would imagine, knowing Coach Ash and the type of team that he developed, that these guys will rally together to form a bond and play for each other. And so we expect them to have all types of effort to, you can expect anything. When I was the interim coach, one of the things I know that I used to say is that, hey, you can do anything you want. We can fake punts, so our guys have to be prepared for any and everything, because again, these guys have nothing to lose. And I know that the type of team that they are, when you watch the way they've played, they'll bond together and they'll give us a good fight.
To your right, Mike.
Mike, it seemed like Antoine Brooks had a pretty good game the other night. Can you talk about what he brings to the defense as a safety now?
Yeah, Anton's one of those high energy guys. He'll make some mistakes here and there and take bad angles, but he makes up for it with his effort. He's the leader over there on that side of the ball. He's one of those guys that he's going to give you 110% of everything he has. He's a guy that at the end of the game is always banged up because he plays on all the special teams. He plays on defense for us. And again, he's been one of the best leaders for us this season. And, playing as a safety, we're getting him around the football. We put him in some situations. He's very versatile. He can play man coverage. He can blitz the quarterback. He can drop down in the box. And so he makes us a little more flexible on the defensive side of the ball because of his skill set.
Last 2, Patrick.
Mike, when you look at the penalty situation, that was obviously a shortcoming last year as well as this year. I know you're not worried about last year, but does it take time to make a team more disciplined, or can you reverse that fairly quickly? in light of what's happened here over the last couple of weeks?
No, we need to get it straight quickly. I mean, our guys, we talk about it all the time. You know, discipline will precede winning, and part of discipline is not beating yourself. And you know, some of the stats from that game. I mean, 22% of our offensive plays had some type of self-inflicted error, interceptions, sacks, drop passes, penalties, fumbles. I mean, 22% of the plays you call can't have self-inflicted wounds. You know, 17 missed tackles, 21 points off of turnovers. Like, those are all things. We're already playing a number 12 team in the country, and those are the things that I don't think they need help with being able to beat us the way they did. So, again, it's always going to start with us. Very rarely will it deal with our opponent. And so I've got to get that part fixed, and we get it fixed by either changing players, which with some of the injuries, it's a little tough to make those type of changes, but we'll keep reinforcing it. We'll keep coaching it. We'll keep coaching them through it. The want to is there by our guys. And again, it's great to know that, football is kind of a metaphor of life, and that we're going to get another opportunity this Saturday. You face adversity, you get up off the mat, you go fight, and I expect our guys to do it. I'm looking forward to seeing it this Saturday.
Yeah, Mike, just to follow up on Scott's question, in terms of preparing for Rutgers, when you have a new head coach, new offensive coordinator in there, is it harder to prepare because you're not knowing what their tendencies are, what this guy wants to do? And how much did you, when you coached that game against Penn State back in 2015, how much was that to your benefit? Did you change a lot of things from what Randy did?
No, those are good questions. First, for us, we got to, again, it starts with what Maryland does. It starts with what we do on offense, defense, and special teams. And we need to be really clean in terms of our execution, in terms of our assignments, and making sure that we know and can execute our stuff first. I equate this game a lot to playing an opening game where you don't necessarily know what you're going to get. You anticipate some things. I mean, obviously, there's very few things you can't just wholesale change and go from a pro-style system to running wishbone. At least I don't think you can within a 3-day period. But so the expectation is that they'll be similar to what they are, but obviously the personalities of the play callers. I know on the offensive side, I think they got a new play caller on offense because they let the offensive coordinator go. And what we're going to have to do defensively is be really clean in our alignments and our assignments. And then once we get into the game, the adjustment piece becomes huge for us. As far as changing things, I think definitely, you don't change the structure of how you do things in terms of the day-to-day practice times, lift times, meeting times. But I definitely flipped some of the practice schedule things because my big goal when I took over as the interim was to make sure that those seniors had the best experience they could possibly have their senior year, because those are the kids that get kind of screwed when you fire coaches in the middle of the year. These guys that have spent 4 years there, and now they're in their senior year, and in the middle of it, you've got to make adjustments there. So I changed some of the things that we did during practice, but for the most part, the fundamental structure of your team and organization is tough to change in a 3-day period. So we'll just have to be really good with our adjustments and see what they present to us, and then get our players playing well in the things that we need to do on offense, defense, and special teams.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.